Hello everyone, I am Mary from Athena's Bibliotheca. I wanted to start this vlog, technically not when I wanted to start it in the first place, but I really want to start reading one of these books. So I'm starting it now at 10:30 at night instead of in the morning like I was going to. And I'm also too lazy to set up everything to film the intro in front of my bookshelves. So we're just doing it here. So after I'm done filming this intro, I can just start reading the book that I want to read. Let me actually introduce to you what I'm trying to do with this video, and that is I wanted to read romance for 24 hours for Valentine's Day, which, if all goes according to plan, is when this video will go out, hopefully. Hopefully you receive this on Valentine's Day or after Valentine's Day if you don't watch it when it came out. I don't know your life, but I've always wanted to do a 24-hour readathon. Technically, this is not a 24-hour readathon. I'm not going to stay up for 24 hours and read. I am going to set a timer and I'm only going to let it do its countdown when I'm reading a book. So I want to set a timer and only have it going when I am reading a book so that when it finally goes off, it's being 24 hours of reading. So, like, this probably will take a few days, especially with some of the stuff that I know is coming up for me. Hopefully, you understand what it is. It's not that hard. The challenge is just for me personally, so really I'm assuming you're only here for the books. And I will actually show the books that I'm hoping that I can get to. Hopefully you're excited by them. One of the books that I am hoping to get to in this 24 hours of reading is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. I picked this up last year sometime because of an Instagrammer is always talking about how much she loves this book, and I saw it at Barnes and Noble when I was there one day and I just picked it up. So it's been on my shelves for a little bit, and hopefully I'm finally going to get to it in this vlog and you'll see my thoughts on it. The next book that I have on the plans for hopefully getting to is So This Is Ever After by F.T. Lukens. I don't really know much about it except that it's a gay romance and something to do with magic. And I know I've read from this author before and I really liked their other work and I wanted to give another one a shot. And now I have this one, so hopefully I get to it and I enjoy it. And then lastly, this is the one that I'm going to start with because it's the one I'm most excited about and the reason why I'm starting this earlier than I wanted to, because I want to get to this book and I finished the book that I was reading today already, so I can read it and I really want to, and that is Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. I have this really pretty edition. I can't remember who created this edition. I'll leave it right here. I'll leave the name right here. But anyways, I adore this edition. It's so pretty. The pages are beautiful. The cover is pretty. The end pages are so pretty. So I'm excited to read this. From what I've heard, I really think I'm going to enjoy this. Do I know a lot about it? Not really. But every time someone brings it up, I'm like, I really want to read that. It might also have to do with the original cover. This is the original cover, and it is also gorgeous, and I love it so much. And that might, as I've said in previous videos, if a book has a pretty cover, I want to read it. I'm easy to please. But it also has pirates, and who doesn't like a pirate story? I am going to start reading this. Hopefully I enjoy it as much as I anticipate enjoying it. So let's get the timer going and start reading. So it's the next day from when I started. I didn't get much done reading wise last night. I mean, I didn't expect myself to, but anyways, I am now about 4 hours into this challenge, I guess, of trying to see how much I can read in 24 hours, whatever I end up calling it. Anyway, so about halfway. I'm about halfway through, a little over halfway, I think, on chapter 35. Just about to start chapter 35, if that means anything to you. I am really enjoying this story. It's so good so far. I mean, as much as you can enjoy stuff when stuff is going bad, Bennett is, I really like following her. I've spent the majority of this time waiting for Priest to come back because I really want Priest to come back. And Ashley, he was growing on me and then he did something and I'm like, come on, please grow a backbone. And when Bennett thinks because I'd fallen in love with yet another man who would never choose me first, I'm like, oh, it's so sad. And I'm like, I mean, kind of saw it coming, but also like so sad. I was hoping that maybe Ashley will do something to get her out of this. What's about to come for her? I mean, I don't know exactly what's to come, but the last sentence in chapter 34 makes me unsure if Ashley's gonna do something or like he's not gonna be doing anything for a while anyway. I don't see that happening. Hopefully it takes less time than I'm anticipating for Bennett to get out of there, but we'll see how that happens. I really want Bennett to just do it herself because I mean, I like Bennett and I think she's cool, but really all she's done so far is try to seduce men to get what she wants, and I'm like, can you do something else besides that? Anything else? Anyways, that's not a diss. I really am enjoying it. It's just I want her to get out of the mess she's in on her own. We'll see what happens. So far, I'm glad that I picked this up. No regrets so far. So, we're about 7 hours into this little challenge of seeing how much I can read in 24 hours. And I finished Sea of Ruin, and it did indeed live up to my expectations. I love this story so much. This is definitely one. It was a good choice to start with this one because I couldn't put it down. I wanted to keep going. I was like, I just wanted to know what was going on, what was going to happen next, how Bennett was going to get out of whatever mess she was in that moment. And she got into a lot of precarious situations, and I think that's like my one critique about this book is that it didn't feel like Bennett, as much as I love her, and I'm like, this is not going to make my rating any less because I love the story and I had so much fun. But Bennett seemed like she just, the plot happened to her. You know how when people complain about that stuff? It's like the plot happened to her. She didn't forward the plot, if that makes any sense. She just kept getting captured from one person to the next person. It was like they were passing like, oh, I captured this time and then it's your turn to capture, and like it just kept going. But I loved it. It was so much fun. I mean, like there was parts that were not fun, obviously, because she got captured by some semi okay people and then some really, really, really bad people and like all the layers in between. And then sometimes she'd get captured by someone and you're like, okay, this is a bad guy. But then she would be like, we all have our red flags. And I'm just like, okay, Bennett, whatever you want to do. I would not be doing that in if I was in your situation, but you do you. I just really loved it. It was great. I'm glad that I got the special edition of it because that was a good choice from Past Me. Past Me was like, Mary, I know you're going to love this book. So I'm going to get this special edition before you've ever read it. And I'm like, thank you, Past Me. I do. I adore this story, and I'm glad I have the special edition for it. This is not a good selling point for how my enjoyment of this book is because I actually do this quite a lot, but I haven't eaten anything yet today besides some toast this morning for breakfast. So I'm going to eat something and then I'll start the next book. I mean, there's only the two, so it has to be the Kiss Quotient or So This Is Ever After. I am leaning towards The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hong, so that's probably the book that you're going to hear about next from me after I'm done eating. So I did end up starting The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hong, and I'm only like 35 pages, 38 pages into it, so just before chapter 5. So I'm not very far into it. At the start, I wasn't good. I was a little nervous about it because the way that they were talking about Stella not thinking she liked sex, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Not gonna lie, because it felt like they were saying that's not like you were. It kind of felt like they were implying that people would be broken if they didn't like sex, and I do not like the way that was happening. I mean, I get, I get where it's coming from, but every time someone doesn't think that they like sex, and then people talk about it, or they don't have sex very often, usually when a conversation like that comes up, I'm always like, eh. After I got past that bit though, I think that I found it's really cute so far. Like, I'm really enjoying the first 30 pages, besides that one little nitpicky thing at the beginning. What I wanted to say is that once we meet Michael, it's really cute. And I think I've found a new trope that I like. I mean, we're really not that far into it. I mean, I keep saying that, but I'm only 38 pages, so I really don't know much about it. But I think I really like the trope of like one of the people are teaching the other about sex. I just think that it was just so cute the way I mean, I don't know if every instance of that I'll like, but I really like how it's being portrayed in this book specifically. So I'll have to look into that in future books that I read. I just think it was really well done here, or so far anyway. I have only read the first instance of them meeting, so we'll see how it goes from here. But so far, I'm excited about where it's going, and I expect I'm going to really like it. So let's hope I'm right. So we have 14 hours and 31 minutes to go in this challenge. This experiment, I guess, is really better because it's not really a challenge per se. It doesn't really matter. I underestimated how much I could read in 24 hours, so we may add another book onto this, maybe. I don't know yet. I'm still probably a little over halfway into the Kiss Quotient, and I love this story so much. It's so adorable. I love Michael and Stella together. They're so cute. They're so precious and I love them so much. The only thing, every time someone mentions that it's practice or it's like part of the job or they don't actually care, I'm just like sad. I'm like, come on, guys. Just admit it to each other that you like each other so that we don't have to have this pain in the background of every interaction you guys have. But they're so cute and I love them so much. So far, I'm very happy that I decided to put this on my list of books to read for this video because I'm having a great time and I can see why it's so hyped up. Then again, I don't know about what's going to happen in the last 100 or so pages, so that opinion can change depending on how they resolve their issues. I just want them to get together. Like, actually admit to each other that they are together and it's not fake. That's what I want to happen. But I'm pretty sure something bad is going to happen before they admit that to each other. So, but we'll see what goes down. And I'm going to continue to read and find out. First, I just want to say that I do actually move from this spot, even though this video doesn't look like I do. It's just when I'm in my room, this is usually the spot I'm reading at because it's just easier. And then it's easier to do these clips instead of putting out my like tripod and setting up in front of the shelves. And I like reading here, so it looks like I spend the majority of my time here, which I guess is kind of true. But I'm just letting you know that I do move from this spot. Next on the agenda of what I'm updating you on, I have a little bit more than 11 hours left in my 24 hours of reading. And I have finished the Kiss Quotient and already started the next one. So I never updated you on my thoughts of Kiss Quotient after I finished, so I'm going to do that now. Overall, I really enjoyed the story, and I thought Michael and Stella were so adorable. Every interaction they had, I was just like, please just admit to each other that you like each other. It would be so much easier if you did. But the third act conflict comes in, and each of their insecurities is put to the test during the third act conflict, and I'm not quite sure I like how that went down, but it didn't lessen my overall enjoyment of the story. So overall, I'm really glad I picked it up. It was a fun time. I really enjoyed Michael and Stella, and I kind of want more of them. I'm pretty sure I've said this before, where I skim read sex scenes if they occur in a story, because I don't know, I just find them cringe, and I don't, any type of sex scene, I don't want to read it. But in these ones, I was reading the whole scene because it felt important to the story for the development of the characters to read those scenes. It wasn't just in there to have a sex scene in there, because that was like one of the main points of the story, was for Stella to learn. And it was adorable. And I loved it. It was so cute. It sounds like such a weird concept to call adorable, but it was. It was so sweet, and I would recommend. That's all I got to say. And then when I was finished with the Kiss Quotient, I started So This Is Ever After by F.T. Lukens. Very different vibes. I mean, the vibes are kind of similar, not like in a the romance type of way, but in the Kiss Quotient in this book so far are both cute and adorable. This one is especially funny too. I didn't really go over what this is about. I don't really ever do, because I am just really bad at descriptions of books. Even when I'm reading them, I'm bad at it. I feel like I am anyway. The start of this story is very similar to or it made me think of the start of Frieren Beyond Journey's End, the manga that I'm slightly obsessed with, because in this story, it starts with them defeating the big villain, and then hijinks ensue after that, because like they defeat the villain and then they're like, now what? It's like, I don't know what to do now. And the person that defeats the big villain ends up becoming king, and even though he just was like, okay, I'll just be king for a little bit until we can find the actual heir. Things happen. He has to be there longer than he expects, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So I'm excited to see what happens, and I'm excited to see what the main character does to get out of the position he's in. And I hope it doesn't blow up in his face, because I have a feeling with the way how awkward he is, it's going to blow up in his face. But I'll find out, and I will let you know how I feel about it once I've read some more. I just wanted to do a quick update on this book and say that I am once again reading a book where the two characters like each other and they won't admit it. So I'm stuck reading a book with a bunch of pining. It's okay. I love them anyway. But the pining is a lot. We have 8.5 hours left of this little challenge I've given to myself. And I finished the third book in my list of books that I had for this. I do think I know what I'm going to choose next. But before I talk about that, I'm going to talk about this book. And I had so fun. I feel like I tell every book if I enjoyed it, I'm like, I had a fun time with it, which is really all you should want when you're reading a book, is you want to have a fun time. So I think that's a plus, that all the books I've been reading have been a fun time. This one though, it relies heavily on like miscommunication, which is never really your favorite thing, but the characters are so sweet and fun to hear more about that you don't mind, or at least I didn't mind so much about the miscommunication. Some of the characters' decisions during the third act conflict in the story were annoying, but I always feel like I get annoyed with the third act conflict, because usually I'm like, why do you do this? But also like understandable. The insecurities of the characters was a lesser reason than the miscommunication though. But okay, so this book is kind of they know what they're doing, and they know that there's a lot of miscommunication in it, so they have this line in here. I gotta read it for you because it kind of makes the miscommunication okay in the end, or at least it did a little bit. Like I didn't mind the miscommunication that much after this line. So like after everything's resolved or whatever, and he's like, and one of the characters is like, however, I think we'd both agree we have to work on our communication. And I'm just like, yeah, yeah, you do. It was just cute. It's a fun time. So like if you just want to read something and have a fun time, here you go. It's fun. It's great. Are you a little annoyed with the miscommunication? Yes, a little bit. But do you care? Because I didn't. I didn't care enough not to continue and not to finish it. So we got that going for us. It's a cute and adorable read, and I would recommend it if you want to read YA romance, because it definitely is, and all that entails. And it's a great time. I have a little bit more than 8 hours left of this challenge to myself, I guess. And I think I'm going to. Okay, first of all, I did not choose this read. I mean, it sounds like it will be okay. Okay, let me talk. Okay. Okay, so for the book that I'm pretty certain is going to be my final book, but I don't know, who knows? Maybe I can finish this in 8 hours. I will be surprised with myself if I can finish it in 8 hours, but you never know. And it's called An Alpha's Fated Encounter. The Alpha's Fated Encounter by Roxy Ray, I think. And the only reason that I even knew about this book's existence is because of my sister. One of my sisters and I decided to do these buddy reads each month, and so I get to decide what the book is, and then my sister gets to decide what the book is, and then I get to decide, so on and so forth. And I chose January's book, which was One Dark Window, by the way, and I loved it. And this is the book that my sister chose. I don't know much about it, except that it's an opposites attract werewolf romance, and that it's like 600 plus pages. I'm not 100% sure I'm gonna like this. I have like no idea if I'm gonna like it or not. I will say, while everyone else was ravenous for vampire novels, I was one of the people in the corner waiting for a werewolf book to come up. So for it to be a werewolf book, it does get a point on the positive side since it is a werewolf book. That doesn't mean I still won't like it, but it is a little more likely that I will like it because it's about werewolves. And I also like the fated mate slash soulmate trope, and I know that is in this story, so it's still up in the air though, and I'll start reading it and give you an update when I have something to talk to you about. So, a little update. I have about 4.5 hours left of my 24 hours. I'm about 43% into what's it called the Elvis Fated Encounter. Got further in it than I thought I would, but do I like this? I don't know. Like, it's not, I mean, I'm still reading it, so it's not like I hate it. I am still slightly invested to see what's going to happen, but also if for some reason I had to stop it right now, I wouldn't care that much. So I don't know if that says much or not about this story. The characters are okay, I guess. The story, or like the plot of the story, is I don't know, everything about it is just okay. Nothing's groundbreaking, nothing is like jumping out at me as like, oh my word, I love this. So the way I'm talking makes me feel like you're going to think that I hate this story, and I don't hate it. It's just okay. Like it's fine. it's it's like middle of the road kind of thing. It's probably because I enjoyed the other books so much, and I really didn't have the best expectations going into this story. I think I am liking it about as much as I thought I was going to like it from the start. So we'll see. Maybe the next half of the story will change it and I'll be amazed with how great the ending of this book is, but I don't think that it's going to be my new favorite with how little I care about it right now. I'm invested enough to continue reading, but I care very little. I just don't care one way or the other. So I guess maybe I just don't like it as much as I'm trying to convince you I do, but like, it's just alright right now. We'll see if it gets more than alright, but at the moment, I don't think it's going to get any better. but maybe it will surprise me. We'll see. So I have completed my 24 hours of reading for this vlog. I did quite a bit of reading, at least I feel like I did. I got almost 4 books read. I read 1,733 pages in the 24-hour span, so I think that's pretty good. It ended up being like 72 pages an hour, which I'm okay with. I started off my reading with Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin, and I think this was a really good choice for the first read because I didn't want to put it down. I wanted to know what was going to happen next. I wanted to see where it was going. I will say that as a pirate book, okay, this is going to seem really weird because there was a lot of pirating stuff going down, but Bennett, the main character, who is the pirate captain, didn't seem to be doing much pirating, if that makes any sense. She was just getting shipped from one place to the next. And I'm just like, okay. She also, just saying, I mean, I don't mind because I started to like them too, but she has an inability to see red flags. She's like, red flags? Where? Red flags mean green flags to her. I'm just saying that's what it is. I did enjoy learning about the male main characters in the story though. They were really interesting. I wish we got more of Priest actually because I was I was liking him in the beginning and then we had to leave him for a long period of time and I was just waiting for Priest to come back the whole time. But whatever. I mean, I came to appreciate Ashley, but I was still sad we didn't get more Priests. So I had fun. I'm glad I got the special edition because it's so pretty and gorgeous and I love it. I really enjoyed the story just like I thought I would from the first time I heard about it because I really didn't know much about what this book is about except that there was pirates and there was a poly relationship in it. That's pretty much all I knew going into it. Oh, and I knew it was a dark romance. Like there was dark themes going on. That's another thing I want to mention that if you do want to read this, it is a dark. So if you have any triggers of any kind, look up the trigger warnings for this story before you pick it up. Just warning you. The next book I picked up to read was the exact opposite of a dark romance, and that was The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. And this book just made me so giddy. It was so cute and adorable, and I love them so very much. I did say though in previous clips that the first conversation that is had in the story around sex and people's feelings about it gave me a little ick, not gonna lie. Also, I think I mentioned that the third act conflict, while understandable for the characters, still kind of annoyed me a little bit because that type of third act conflict always annoys me, not gonna lie. But I enjoyed this story so much. It was so adorable. It was so cute. I love Michael and Stella. They're precious. Also, one of the only romances that I've actually read the whole sex scene because it felt important to the plot. The character development was happening during the sex scenes. If you read it, you know what I'm saying, what I'm meaning when I say that. I thought it was well done the way that the author did the teach me aspect of the story, and also it made me realize that I might like that. I don't know if it's just this specific version of that trope, but I would be willing to give recommendations with that trope in it because I just thought it was so sweet. I'll have to look more into books with that trope in it because it might be my thing. So the third book I finished in this challenge was So This Is Ever After by F.D. Lukens, and once again loved this story. It was such a fun time. Like I say to every book I enjoy, was it a fun time? Then I probably enjoyed it. In earlier clips, I mentioned the comparison that of this book to Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, because apparently I like bringing up that story in any capacity that I can in the video. But it is true, there is a comparison between the two, and that's just the setup. Just the setup of the two stories are similar. They both talk about what happens after the big bad villain is killed. After that, there's like no similarities, except I enjoyed the characters just as much in both stories, so there's that. Also, if one of your favorite tropes is two pining idiots, this is the story for you. An oblivious character, this is the story for you. A little too much miscommunication, but it's called out in the end, this is the story for you. it was just fun. And it was, I mean, I'm not saying it's the best thing ever. It's like, you know what you're going into when you start the story, is what I'm getting at. Nothing too groundbreaking, but you have a fun time while you're reading it. And I do recommend this story. It's just fun and enjoyable. And you're like, and every time Eric is like, oh, Matt doesn't like me, I'm like, you're an idiot. He obviously does. That is for this one. Great time. Recommend if you don't mind reading a YA romance. And the last story I read was The Alpha's Fated Encounter by Roxy Ray, I'm pretty sure. I read it on my Kindle, so I'll just put a picture of it up. I will say I haven't finished this yet. I'm going to have like 10% left to read in this story. So I don't think my opinions are going to change that drastically or that much with the ending, with how much I care about it at the moment. I will say that this story is not a story I probably would have picked up if it wasn't for my sister picking it for our buddy reads that we do together, or we started to do together. Take that as you will. I don't really have much to say about the story except that it was okay. The characters, no one made me viscerally angry. I guess the villain is kind of like dull. Like there's nothing. It's just your average everyday villain. And there's some inconsistencies with the plot. Maybe I just remembered wrong while I was reading it, but I'm pretty sure there was an instance where like there was one character that had to go to another part of the country to talk to these people, and or there was two characters. One went to these people to talk to them, and the other one was doing this investigation in another place. And in the story, those two people's names got switched. So the one that was doing the investigation was now the one talking to the person in another part of the country. I don't know, maybe I got the names mixed up, but I'm pretty certain that it was a different character going to get the people from another part of the country. I don't know, there was inconsistencies like that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that guy was there the whole time and I just didn't realize. But even if that is true, it's still annoying to me enough that I had to bring it up on this video. So I'm just saying that happened. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I don't know if any of you are going to actually read this story because I don't know if I recommend it, because it's just okay. Unless you look it up and you're like, oh, that sounds like a great time. I hope that you enjoy it more than I did. I'm not saying, okay, the inconsistencies are a little annoying, but it didn't, I mean, I guess it bothered me a little bit because it's such bugging me still. I feel like I have to reread some of the chapters to make sure that I'm not wrong. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to force myself to do that. I'm just going to keep going. Plus, we're way past that part now. But overall, it's just okay. Like, nothing is making me inherently angry. Nothing is making me inherently, like, upset or anything. It's all just okay. That's not a great way to end the reading, but that's what I got. I should have known when I picked that book to finish this vlog on that it wasn't going to end really great, but that's all I got for you. I think, though, enjoying 3 out of the 4 books I read is a good time. I enjoyed the majority of these books, and even the one I didn't care for that much that I'm saying it was just okay. I mean, it is not like making me angry or anything. I am finishing it, so there's that. Will I continue with the rest of the books in that series? Probably not. So that is all I am reading for this 24 hours anyway. That's all I got for you today. Hopefully you had fun with this video, because I did. I liked the idea of these types of videos, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to do a 24-hour readathon where I stayed up for 24 hours. I just can't not have my sleep. And I know a lot of people take naps and whatever on their 24 hours. I felt like it would be more interesting to see how much I could read in 24 hours. And I read more than I thought I was going to. Not gonna lie. I thought I was going to read the first 3 books that were my priority, but I didn't think I was going to have that much time left over after I finished those 3 books. Anyways, let me end this video. I hope you had fun watching this video and watching my reactions to the books or hearing about them. I hope to see you next week, but I make no promises. Bye.